This is a Dubai Eye 103.8 podcast. You're listening to the UAE's #1 talk radio station.
This is Afternoons on Dubai Eye 103.8.
I'm Helen Farmer. Great to have you with us. Get ready for a shocking statistic about just how many people actually wash their hands. We're talking about how to do it and, of course, why. And I'm in conversation with Dr. Humera Badshah, plus 2 patients as we mark World Arthritis Day. Some of the signs and symptoms and some of the treatments too. I'm a little bit worried about our next conversation because I feel like I'm not going to like what we're about to learn. Do you know how to wash your hands properly? This coming Sunday is Global Hand Washing Day. It's a day dedicated to, yes, you guessed it, increasing awareness and understanding about the importance of hand washing with soap as an effective way to prevent diseases and even save lives. With us now is Dr. Sladana, a specialist in the Department of Internal Medicine at the JBR branch of Medcare Medical Centre. Doctor, how are you today?
Very good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Now, I was at the hospital actually earlier today, and there's notices, as there should be in doctors' clinics, about correct washing of hands, and the diagram. And I looked at it and I was like, well, I mean, does anyone actually ever do that unless they're scrubbing up to go into theatre? And I know we became very hot on hand washing, and rightly so, during the pandemic. But do you think we've all kind of forgotten about the importance?
Absolutely. So I do have one statistic which is quite gross. So the estimated global rate of hand washing after toilet use is only 19%.
What?
That's quite shocking, isn't it?
No,
yes?
No. Slow down a second. So let me just understand this. So if 100 people, only 19 will wash their hands after going to the toilet.
After toilet, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, that's awful.
Yes, we don't want to hear these numbers.
Make yourselves known on 4001, you guilty, disgusting people. That's really disgusting. Oh, gosh, okay. Right, yes. Let's get into the facts then. I mentioned there about hand washing with soap. Is that proven to be more beneficial than washing with water alone, Doctor?
Absolutely, yes. So studies have shown that washing your hands with soap is definitely superior and the preferable method of hand hygiene. It can actually reduce the E. coli bacteria on our hands up to 8%. But it doesn't mean if you don't have soap on hand, you can also wash your hands with the right technique, with water solely. It will also reduce the bacteria up to 23%. But soap is definitely superior.
Okay, and what about the water? Does it matter if it's hot or cold?
No, actually temperature does not matter at all. There's no studies that showed any evidence, for example, of using hotter water. It is actually on the contrary. It will just cause a very, very dry skin and potentially eczema, and we do want to avoid that. So just use any temperature that suits you. Okay,
let's talk method, because I'm not a surgeon. I'm not going to spend 2 full minutes washing my hands. I'm sorry. We're looking at 20 seconds being realistic. So what is the correct and I guess realistic way for us to wash our hands for people listening today, Dr. Sladana?
Yes, there is actually. It's not about 2 minutes. There is there is a length that is, or duration that is recommended. So that is 20 to 30 seconds.
Yay!
So there is a 5-step method which is endorsed by the Center of Disease Prevention and Control. So it is wet, lather, scrub, rinse, and dry. So basically, it's very important to wet our hands entirely with running water. Then we apply the soap. We lather our hands by rubbing. Then we scrub for at least, as I said, 20 to 30 seconds. So we scrub our palms, the back of our hands. We intertwine our fingers. We rub our fingertips, our thumbs, and our wrists. Then we rinse well under the water and we dry using a clean towel or an air dryer.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Towel versus, there's an environmental question which we're going to put aside, but paper towels or your hand dryers, does that make any difference in terms of spreading diseases or indeed avoiding them?
Well, actually, there's been controversial studies about that. Of course, air dryers can throw germs through the air and can potentially contaminate further surfaces. So I would say clean towels are preferred, especially towels that are for like once only used towels.
Now, just a few short years ago, I felt like I had hand sanitizer stashed in every handbag, the car, all corners of the home. And thankfully, I don't see hand sanitizers as much as we did during 2020 and 2021. So alcohol-based hand sanitizers, are they an okay substitute instead of hand washing with soap? Or what are your feelings on them in general, Doctor?
Actually, in a non-medical environment, they should not be a substitute for soap and water, because we need to be mindful that even alcohol-based sanitizers, there are some resistance of certain bacteria to them. So hand washing with soap is superior, but in situations, for example, where you don't have water or soap at hand, for example, public transport, or if you just got out of the doctor's office, it is safe to use hand sanitizers. You have to be mindful, though, that it should contain at least 60% alcohol.
Okay, good to know. A question from Mia that's come in on 4001 saying, my brother, like many, got very obsessive during COVID, would wash his hands a lot, and now his hands are very dry. She's saying, any advice for dealing with that?
Yeah, actually, liquid soaps are preferred than soap bars, just because they have emollients in them. So also and make sure your hands are dry, like really dry after you wash them, dry them with a towel, and then after they're completely dry, you can rub in a moisturizer.
And a question here from Susan saying, any tips for kids? Yeah, I'm with you there. We've only got a minute left, so any advice for getting our kids to spend as long as they can stand to wash those germy, grimy hands, our little germ monsters, especially as we come into sick season?
Yeah, they just tell them that it's in their control. They're the super fighting heroes who can fight the germs.
Oh.
We can do it in like a playful way to teach kids the importance of it.
Thank you for your time today. I'm hopefully we've given pause for thought, and hopefully we're going to increase that number. I'm sure it's no one that listens to Dubai Eye that doesn't wash their hands after going to the toilet. We're better than that, aren't we? Yes. But yeah, shocking statistic. Just 19% of people washing their hands after going to the loo. Good grief, that's going to stay with me. Dr. Sladana, thank you so much for your time today. Really, really appreciate it. Specialist in the Department of Internal Medicine, JBR branch at Medcare Medical Centre. Oh, it's given me the shivers.